All right.
Here we are.
Here we are. I have to say, almost every one of these Millcasts, I start by complaining about how overcast it is.
It's sunny.
It's sunny. It is an absolutely spectacular day outside, which is nice.
For a change.
For me, it just makes all the difference in my mood.
I know, same. I mean, it looked like a winter wonderland. I had to remember, I got to put sunglasses in the car because the drive to work, you get the blaring sun.
It was a beautiful drive in along the river, but I was out there even earlier because you've been solo all weekend. I am now solo as Todd has hit the road to go on a ski trip.
Yeah.
And so I had to walk the dogs this morning, and that's usually Todd's job. And it was spectacular. I'm going to show you a picture. It's Instagram centered, but anyway, it was a beautiful, gorgeous sunny day, and that's my dog Jack. That you can see in the picture. We have 2 dogs, but Jack made it in the picture. Yeah. Gorgeous day.
Absolutely gorgeous. And yesterday afternoon, it turned into another gorgeous day. And I will also throw a picture in. From our ski. I went skiing with my neighbor Lexi twice over the weekend. It's been so long since I've gone cross country skiing, since before I was pregnant with Maeve. So since Cody was out of town, she invited me to go with her because normally the 2 of them are going. And I was like, sure, why not? Cody and Maeve have been out of town visiting his parents back in Minnesota. So it's been the first time I've been away from her in 10 months. And then, if you count the pregnancy times, a long time. So it was great. I did a lot of skiing, a lot of just keeping the animals alive and the house warm. It was very cold this weekend. And Cody and I think a lot falls on him for the house maintenance stuff. I really realized that when he's gone, because it's okay, you get home from work, got to split kindling, build a fire, haul up buckets of water.
You heat your house with wood.
Yes.
I mean, you have a backup, but
the backup's not on unless we're pretty much out of town or there's extenuating circumstances. So it was a lot of hauling in wood, splitting kindling, and then we water our animals with water from our brook even in the winter. So it was hauling buckets.
So you go down to that brook and
go down to the brook, bring it up. We store it in the basement so that it stays warm. And then we have 3 buckets at a time, so we'll go fill the 3 up, and then when they run out, then we go get some more. So. A lot of that, but it was just a gorgeous weekend to be doing that stuff.
Yeah, but it was bitter cold, and of course, when it's bitter cold, our tractor never starts.
Oh, no.
And we need the tractor to move the round bales, and I so wanted a round bale. This is 500 pounds of hay. Yeah. I wanted it in place before Todd took off because, I didn't want to, it would just make life easier. So
did you get it in place?
We reached out to the guy who repairs tractors. He's down in Claremont, which is, I don't know, what is that, about a half hour from here? And he said, it sounds like you need to charge the battery. Okay. Which we ended up doing that for quite a while, did get it started, did get the round bale in with the sheep, but Bob thinks we probably need a new battery, so he's going to come up this week at some point. But it's okay. Man. It's okay.
I feel like this happened last year,
absolutely, and it happens when it's bitter cold and when Todd's out of town.
Yes.
That's just the way that's the way it works. But anyway, it's all good. So you're wearing what we know.
Yeah, this is the custom sweater that I did not knit, but a talented knitter did, out of Peg's Corriedale yarn.
And hand dyed it over a natural gray.
Yep.
I can't remember if I've worn this on the Millcast or not.
I don't think you have.
This is I knit this. It's the Jennifer Steingass, one of her marvelous, knit from the neck down and have a pattern in here. Yeah. And I hand dyed this. It's ironic. I think I had that raspberry on last week. I don't know why I like that kind of pinky raspberry color.
It looks great on you.
Yeah, it's nice and warm. It's actually wool from Hogwash Farms, which is a farm not far from here. And
which is Jacob wool.
Jacob, that's right, Jacob. So that's what I'm wearing.
I love it. It's subtle because there's not a ton of contrast.
Right, it doesn't really pop. But it's there.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Hey, we still have things to talk about from the weekend.
Okay.
What you ate.
Oh my God. I came in, I told Peggy, I think this is the correct psychological term, but I've been trained like a Pavlovian mouse or dog or whatever to drive to Queechee every Saturday morning, which is a town about 20 minutes from my house. and stand in line for the better part of an hour for these amazing donuts. Oh my God. And guys, it was the last weekend for a while, so I'm not blowing up the spot for now, but this couple, I think it is, runs this donut
Farmer and the Bell?
Farmer and the Bell. It's every, they used to do both weekend days, and then in winter, I think they switched to doing one day, and they are to die for. They take over the first floor of what had been the Parker House, which was a really cool dining area, and now it's more of a bistro occasionally, and they take it over and make the donuts there. You can see them making them. They start at like midnight the night before.
Oh, really?
And they probably even do a lot of prep throughout.
Okay, I want to be clear. These are not.
They're not like donuts.
They're, they're expensive, but they are worth it. They are
like, they've got a lot of egg. I think they're more of a French cruller.
I think that's,
They taste like quite custardy because there's so much egg. You look at the dough. They're dense, and you don't want to eat them hot. She's very specific. If they're
that's interesting.
Turning them out and she has to make more batches during the day, she's like, let them cool completely because they're better cool, but you still should eat them, day of.
Right.
Oh my God, they're so good. And they come up with all sorts of creative flavors where they dip the tops in like different
glazes. It's to die for. It's to die for.
So
anyway,
so I got there, and again, it was -2 degrees out, and
you're waiting outside.
You're waiting outside, and they did not have any heaters out, and I thought there wasn't going to be a line because -2 degrees.
Nobody but Amanda would stand outside for an hour.
But it turns out there's about a bunch of it was 45 minutes worth of other people standing outside, including children, which I just thought that is a very bold move. They must those donuts are so good, you'll force your child outside.
Yeah, you'll make your kids stand outside So
I've enjoyed the past 2 weekends I've gone up by myself to do this, and I ended up getting into nice conversations with the strangers around me, and it's lovely. And then I had donuts, and those are just so good, and I'm very sad that they're not going to be around for some time. They're doing a little break to have a baby, and
hopefully they'll be back in the spring.
I hope so too. It is a gem.
They're really quite insane.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is a Millcast number 16. And it seems to be going well. It's been a lot of fun to see all the comments coming in, and a couple of people are talking about like watching us, discovering us, and then saying, "Oh, I got to watch all of these," which is
it's fun. People have been saying they've been binging us, and it's we have enough episodes that people are binging now.
People can say they're binging us, just like they binge Game of Thrones, right?
We are out of date.
Yeah. Oh,
The Last of Us.
The Last of Us. I am addicted to that.
I haven't started it yet.
It is very good. Anyway, the TV recommendation. We have big news. We've kind of started leaking it out, but we're hiring. Life has been very good at the mill, and we need more people. So if you're watching this and you're in the area and you really want to be a mill worker, shoot us an email at hello@junctionfibermill.com.
Yeah, we'll link the job description in the show notes.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically you'd be working in this space with us part-time, and it's not the most glamorous job, but it also is very rewarding.
No, it's not. It's not glamorous.
It's glamorous when we do Millcast and we have our lights, camera, action.
Put lipstick on for a Millcast, but it's a cozy, cool. I love coming here every day.
I do too.
Even when it's overcast. Yeah.
So maybe we're not hyping it up enough, but you are on your feet all day. Yeah. And it can be hot in the summers. So if you want to do that,
interested, get in touch with us.
Get in touch.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Great time Friday afternoon. We had our open house. We're trying to do it once a month, and we did it this past Friday afternoon, and it was a great crowd.
Yeah, lots of people. Again, I'm always amazed that people show up promptly.
I know, right? It was at 3
p.m.
And
people, like, I always assume that everyone gets out of work at 5. Well, we only do the event until 5, but I'll say from 4 to 5, it gets pretty slow. So people like the afternoon time, I guess. Yeah. And if there's folks here that are in the area or would have come, but that time wouldn't suit you, we're always open to suggestions on switching it up. But I think... and
you can come by if you just shoot us an email and make something of an appointment, just so that we're certain that there's somebody free to be able to take the headphones off. But by the way, that's what you're seeing behind us as we left up when we came in this morning, it sort of was left as though the open house had just finished, and so we've got to still put things away before we can crank the mill. But Yeah, it was good.
It was good, and we had our bargain bin. That was
that was a smart move.
Yeah, so we don't, on our website we have the yarns that we like. We have a good supply of them.
Right.
But from time to time we have this and that and
an
small
extra one
and,
skein left of a run and
yeah. So that's I think sort of the benefit to coming to shop in person is you get not only do you get to like pick out your exact skein that you want, and we know that's important with our making tracks because everyone is unique, but sometimes, there's discounted yarn.
Yeah, so. Yeah. We're celebrating a little bit late on the Millcast, but we've just passed a pretty big milestone.
2 years.
2 years. Our sophomore year is behind us. And they always talk about sophomore years being kind of clunky and not so much. It was
a wild year. I mean,
well, yes, you had a baby. We grew.
We had I think Anastasia started just around our 1 year anniversary. And Todd also started a little bit after that.
Yeah, the day after you gave birth.
There was that. I disappeared for 3 months off of the face of the planet. It was an exciting year, and I just think every time this time of year rolls around, it's always nostalgic to think back to our move-in date. What did you think when we moved in? Like, what was...
It was surreal. It was like the place was empty, and then the equipment starts coming in. I'm like going... We really pulled the trigger on this. Yeah. Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah. I knew when the crew came and they like put the picker stuff where we marked it out on the ground.
Yeah.
But then they left, and then you, me, Michael, and Cody had to screw all the pieces together. We were just like biting our nails to see if we put everything in the right place and planned ahead enough, and then it finally all came together.
It did all come together, but also, even though the equipment had arrived, we still had to get the electricians then to actually hook it up. So there was sort of two different issues: getting the equipment in, and then did the electrician hook it up correctly and press the on button? It works. It was pretty wild.
Yeah. It was, and then we had a few hiccups after that, but it was it's shortly there. I think within a month or so, really sprang to life.
Yeah.
And we started processing our own sheep's wool.
Right, and we are. I was going to say we're well into year 3. Not really. We're a week into year 3.
Yeah.
But wow, it's real, and
it's starting to feel like a real thing after 2 years of doing it.
And I could say this out loud. I'm very proud of us.
I am so proud of us too.
I think.
And we still really love each other.
We feel very good around each other. Life is good. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And thanks for all of you who've been sort of following the journey.
Yeah, I think the Millcast was a really fun addition this year that we're excited to see. We've got a lot of fun ideas for this going into year 3.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we're going to spring on you.
Yeah.
One person we're going to spring on you is a terrific woman. Her name is Rachel. She and her partner Matt have a fantastic, I would call it a fiber farm, but they also, their sheep are grazed at an apple orchard. And they raise fin, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, their farm is Meadowfed lamb.
Meadowfed lamb, near Northampton, but not in Northampton, but Meadowfed lamb. And we want to introduce you to Rachel.
I'm Rachel Haas. I'm one of the 2 shepherds at Meadowfed Lamb, which is a silvopasture operation outfit on Preservation Orchard, which is the home of the Carr Blum apple orchard. For Carr Cider House, and we raise fin sheep. We're entering our 5th season. We do lamb, chicken, eggs, sheepskins, and it's a dream. Here we have our new 2-ply bouquet that we're just picking up in 3 of our natural colors. These are split badger fleeces for the most part. I'm so excited. Look at that color. The way we sell our yarn is largely through our website, meadowfedlamb.com, but also through some small local fiber markets, including the Wayland Farmers Market at Russell's in Wayland, Mass, which is actually going to be on March 5th. I think Junction will also be there, which is an amazing way to get to meet people, meet makers, meet producers. We do farmers markets during the growing season, but we find that's a better time to just sell meat and grill sausages and stuff.
Their fiber is just so beautiful.
Absolutely,
you can tell the amount of care that
Yeah.
they've put into that, and it's just every time their yarn comes out off of the spinner, it's like, oof, yum.
Yeah, and just the natural colors are just spectacular.
Yeah.
So we enjoy the opportunity to work with their wool. It's so cool.
Speaking of natural colors.
Yeah, speaking of natural colors.
So we've been doing a lot of Cormo in the mill.
Yeah.
So we have some of the finished yarn to show you. Da, 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 da. This is some finished yarn, but we actually still have more of this to spin.
Yeah, it is spectacular. It's again 3-ply, but uber soft, and because there's so much crimp in it, it's just marvelously bouncy.
And I would say it's a DK teetering on sport weight here, which I think and we can reveal to you the customer.
Yes.
This yarn is Tammy White of Wing and a Prayer Farm. So I know that she will be doing a lot of beautiful natural dyeing over
That's
this.
right.
And
yeah, she's an extraordinary natural dyer, and we just feel very honored to process Tammy's wool. She's been around a long time, and she took a gamble bringing wool to us, and we really appreciated it.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of this on deck to spin, probably 3 or 4 more spin runs of this.
Yes.
And we've already done 4
Right,
or
I think
so.
we thought there were 9 runs altogether.
Right, so that's a big order for us, and then that was only part 1 of her order. So we have been busy blending.
all Cormo all the time.
Yeah, so what's kind of fun about this is right now you're looking at it and it's a really warm gray, light warm gray. And what went into this yarn was a lot of white, heck of a lot of white.
Right.
As well as some medium charcoal gray, and then actually quite a bit of morit, which is the brown color. So we've got a little clip of me picking the fiber for the second job, and then we were mixing in just a smidge of black merino, just to get it out of the oatmeal range.
Right, exactly, to kind of balance out the brownness of the morit. I think it worked out really well.
I do too, and I think you've done a lot of dyeing over this color.
Love it.
And the gray is just it's not a solid gray. It's a heathered gray, and heathered means the individual fibers are different colors.
Right.
So when they're blended from a distance, it looks gray. But when you look up close, you get the individual whites and...
Right, so that when the dye, let's say red for a moment, when the red hits, it's hitting the white, the morit, the silver, the black, and so it's going to end up giving you a different color on each of those. So when you look closely at the dyed fiber, it's very neat.
So we've got more of this happening, but we did do some other stuff last week.
Yeah, we did.
Too.
Oh, this is nice. This is
this is Romney.
Romney, thank you. Natural color, and just a kind of a bit of a shine to it. And again, it looks like it's a solid color, but when you look at it, you can see the little bit of the grays. It's really fabulous.
Yeah.
This was part of 5 different jobs for this person, and this is the last. So I'm looking forward to letting her come in and see all the great yarn she's going to be picking up.
Yeah, and just this morning we needed to get our humidity up in here before processing, so we've got the sinks going, but I wanted to just show you, because this just looks so beautiful in the sunlight today. This is some fleece that we acquired from Jenny Prince, who came in on one of our Millcast episodes. You can talk to her. But this is her North Country Cheviot, and this gray, I mean, look at this crimp. It is just, it's so uniform, and it looks, I don't know, so lustrous. It's got a really nice staple length.
It's going to make gorgeous yarn. Yeah,
and you can see like that luster. This is raw wool, so it's greasy. It's still got a little bit of hay in it, but this is going to come out. You can see the tips are like a light gray. That's the sun bleaching it. The yarn's going to look this color.
Yeah, a lovely gray. Yeah.
So you'll follow along with that process.
And grays can be kind of blue grays.
This is a blue gray.
Yeah, I was going to say this is going to be a really neat blue gray.
Yeah. So
all good.
Yeah. We had a question.
Yes, we did. From time to time, folks have put comments and questions on the Millcast, which we really appreciate, and we got a really in-depth one. That we'll attempt to try to answer.
Yeah, okay, so this is from Newness240. I have a question for a future Millcast. Can you tell us about the seasonal cycles of your industry? when do farmers shear? Well, should we just start with the first one and then we'll continue?
Yeah, because although I think the second one ties to it.
Okay, when do farmers shear the fleece off their sheep?
Right.
So for us, March 18th.
March 18th, big deal. We're having our flock and your flock are being shorn on the 18th. There are some breeds that get shorn twice a year, so in the spring and then again in the fall. In terms of seasonality, I think that you kind of go by shearing. You shear and then you wait for that fleece to grow and then you shear. But if you're also breeding, that also plays into the cycle. For us, we like to shear about 3 weeks before lambing. So the seasonality is shear, lambing begins, for us it'll be around April 8th, and then they're on pasture and growing. And then we start breeding in the fall. We put our ram in with the ewes that we want to breed in November. It's a 5-month gestation period, and that brings us back around to April. And
so it seems like maybe the core is the pasture, because you want to get those like lambs on the pasture. So you're working backwards from there, where you get your lambs born in time to, they're big enough to go out to pasture.
Right.
When pasture is grown.
Yep. Although for some people they're lambing much earlier, like January and February, because they're more in the meat business. And there's also some that they just like to breed, do the lambing earlier. For me, man, I do not want to be out in the barn when it's 2 degrees out.
It's cold enough in April in Vermont.
But most sheep farmers are controlling when lambing is going to take place, because they're deciding when to put the ram in with the ewes. So the clock is the same. It just may be adjusted so that it's going to be January for this farm to start lambing. For us, it's April. I don't know of anybody who's choosing to do lambing like in June or July. It's just, The other thing is that you want to try, if you're going to, grass is free, relatively speaking. If you're going to do on-farm slaughtering or moving sheep off, you want to do that before you're having to pay for the hay to feed them. So that's the other thing that starts playing into what's your timeline of doing things.
Right. And so for people, my understanding is when you shear sheep twice, that's more just a control for staple length. Those
Correct.
sheep would probably be fine if you let it go all
I
year,
think that's
but
right.
then they have staple, the fiber is too long to be processed at a mill like ours.
Right.
So that's why people shear usually in the fall or early winter sometime.
Right. And I think of long hairs as that fiber grows very quickly, and they're the ones that get shorn twice. I need to double check that, but I think that's right.
Okay, so once they shear them, is there a certain amount of time they have to get it to you, or is it something they can set aside for when they want to bring it to you? In other words, is there an expiration date for shorn fleece?
Great question.
Yeah, so we have found that some if people are being honest with us, when they bring us their fleece, we found that around 3 years or so, it does start to change the nature of the fleece, and it gets a little bit brittle.
You're right.
It just feels dry and a little less soft.
Part of it also depends on how well it was stored. If it's wide open, it's going to dry out faster. If it's tied up tight as a drum, it can have some negative things happen. And if it's in really hot, like if it's put up on the second floor of a barn that really cooks in the summertime. So part of it is how has it been stored. But in general, we'd say about 3 years is the top.
Yeah, you'd probably be fine. And I don't know, maybe for hand processing, the timeline would be different. But for our equipment, we do put a certain amount of stress on the fiber as it goes through our equipment. So having that fleece as fresh as possible is ideal.
Yeah.
But for folks who have a really small flock, or you've got your 2 sheep and you want to make that 13-pound minimum for a mill like ours, it's fine to save it for a couple of seasons.
Absolutely.
And then after it's processed into yarn, this wasn't what the person asked, but the yarn is good indefinitely. Yeah. So as long as you're storing it well.
Right, as long as you're storing it well. Yeah.
Okay, and then there's what's the age that you start shearing sheep?
You mean how old is the sheep when you shear it? Well, you kind of want, if you're raising them for the fiber, you want as much fiber as you can get.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you don't want to ask the shearer to come out more than once. So for us, we shear once a year. So the lambs that are born in April they'll be shorn in March.
So they're about 11 years old, or 11 months.
Right, right. So again, we shear once a year. The lambs are 11 months old. Everybody else, it's a full 1 year growth.
Yep. Yeah. And then they get, for our sheep, it's like 4 inches or so staple length, which for our mill is perfect.
It's perfect. Yeah.
And then lastly, how long does a sheep live?
You know, believe it or not, breeding sheep takes its toll on the body. So it depends whether it's a ewe that's been bred frequently or not. We have our firstborn lamb, her name is Jewel. We haven't bred her for years. She's now 13, and you know, she'll go a little bit longer, I think. My understanding is the bigger the animal, the shorter the lifespan. I would want to double check that. But if you breed, that they're not going to go, even if you stop breeding at some point, they're not going to go to 13 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and my sheep are all under 5, so they've got long lives ahead of them, and they're not really bred right now.
Right.
We bred them once, but...
Right. Yeah, so we're kind of being vague on the answer, but like I said, we have a 13-year-old, and her name's Jewel, and she still knows us, and she's
got a wonderful fleece.
she's terrific.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for the question, and we love getting those, and we'd love to answer your questions. I think sometimes we forget what knowledge we have to share.
Right.
So it helps us for you to post a comment.
Ask the questions.
Yeah,
and we'll vamp and answer.
What are you knitting, Peggy?
I am knitting. I have knitted. So the sweater I've been knitting for Todd. Still not done, but I took a break and I knit up. I think I showed it the last time that we had. I bought the mohair from our neighbor at Vogue Knitting Live, and I blend, and it was a very pale purple, and then I mixed it with our purple from the Montadale Cheviot. And it's really, isn't it soft?
It's so soft. What size needles did you do?
I did it on 5s. The pattern called for 4, but I just felt like it was going to be too much.
Yeah, even so, I feel like it's still pretty...
It's pretty dense.
Pretty dense. Okay, what is it?
It is the Sophie scarf, which...
By?
Petite Knits. Okay.
I get so much crap about this.
You dish your own crap out on that. So I think I'm doing it properly.
Oh, yes. You look like you're ready for Instagram.
Right. Am I doing it here, or is it more she to do it up to the side a la Audrey Hepburn? Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay.
This is, if you guys don't follow, I feel like Petite Knit, this pattern has just like exploded. It's every fiber festival, like Rhinebeck, everywhere you look, everyone's got this Sophie scarf.
Yeah, it's a little chunkier, I think, than what she's doing.
Yeah,
but it's warm.
She has 2 sizes, right?
Yeah, this is the longer size because I think
the one size just goes around once.
Right,
is that?
right, okay. Exactly, or that's what she said, but I'm not sure. Yeah, so this is the longer size.
Well, it's good for our climate,
and it feels soft to the touch, and
you got the glow, the mohair glow.
Yeah, and the
Yeah, I think it looks great.
That's what I'm knitting. I will get Todd's sweater finished. Sometime.
Yeah.
What are you knitting?
Oh, another Petite Knit pattern.
Oh my God. We have got to mix it up. Okay.
This is I've shown this before, but this is the festival sweater. So I'm just
continuing.
I'm working on my continental knitting with the white color. When I switch to the contrasting color to do the bobbles, I go back to whatever the heck style I do normally, where the yarn is in the right hand.
Yep.
And I have been doing the tip of using that smaller size needle when I go to knit 3 through the back loop, and that has been really helpful. But it's coming along. I didn't spend a ton of time on it this weekend.
No, you were too busy skiing.
Too busy skiing and having fun. But I think it's much bigger than Maeve, so this might be for future, which is fine.
Next winter.
Yeah, totally. So that is that.
Very good. Well, yeah, I may leave this on for a while. It's a little cold in the middle of this today.
Yeah, and we turn the heat off when we film because it's like when it
and we bring the heat down over the weekend.
Yeah.
So it takes a little while for it to get back.
Which is great because then we can don our sweaters.
Right.
See what we do in the summertime.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for tuning in, episode 16, and again, If you know of anyone in the area, or you yourself live here and you want to work here,
yeah, let us know.
Let us know.
And stay with us as we launch into year 3.
Thank you for watching. Bye.
Take care.